Elijah pushes open the kitchen door, the rush of heat and the clang of metal greeting him like a dare. He stands for a moment, letting the chaos settle around him. Carter, the sous chef, glances up, lips curling in a tight, almost mocking smile. "You're late," Carter says, not bothering to hide the edge in his voice. Elijah checks the clock, then meets Carter's eye steady on. "I'm on time," he replies, voice even. A line cook hands Elijah a stack of pans, not meeting his gaze. "They want these scrubbed," she mutters. Elijah nods, rolling up his sleeves. He moves to the sink, water splashing, steam rising. The staff watch from the corners of their eyes, some with curiosity, others with quiet doubt. Carter leans against the prep table, arms crossed, tracking Elijah's every move. "Let's see how long this one lasts," he says, voice low but meant to be heard. Elijah doesn't react. He works with focus, each motion efficient, each pan cleaned to a shine. Sweat beads on his brow, but he doesn't pause. The kitchen's rhythm continues orders, shouted knives chopping, timers beeping, but there's a new tension in the air, a silent question hanging over every station. A prep cook drops a spoon, the clatter loud in the hush. Elijah glances up, offers a small nod, then returns to his work. Carter's gaze lingers, searching for weakness, but finds only calm. The staff exchange glances, the first hints of respect flickering. Elijah's presence is quiet, but it changes the room. He doesn't need to say much. Every action speaks for him. As the shift grinds on, Elijah's hands never slow. He is tested with the dirtiest jobs, the hardest corners, but he meets each task with the same steady resolve. By the end of the night, the kitchen is every eye is still on him. Before the story continues, please let us know from where you are watching this video. Write your city or country in the comments below. Your engagement gives power to voices that need to be heard. Elijah stands at the deep sink, hands moving through soapy water, steam curling around his face. Carter hovers nearby, voice just loud enough for the kitchen to hear. "Hey, Elijah, you missed a spot." Guess some people just aren't cut out for real kitchen work. The line cook, next to Elijah, forces a laugh, glancing away immediately, her unease clear. Elijah doesn't flinch. He lifts another pan, scrubbing harder, his eyes locking with Carter's in the reflection of the steel. Carter grins, waiting for a reaction. "You know, back home, we had dishwashers who lasted a week tops." His words hang in the air, daring Elijah to respond. A prep cook wipes his hands on a towel, shifting uncomfortably. The pastry chef busies herself with dough, shoulders tense. Elijah's voice is low, steady. Maybe they just needed a better reason to stay. He doesn't look away, letting the quiet fill the space between them. Carter shrugs, but his smile falters, the joke losing its bite. The laughter from the staff fades, replaced by a heavy pause. Elijah dries his hands, stacking the pans with care, his movements deliberate. The kitchen resumes its rhythm, but something has shifted. The staff glance at each other, uncertain, as if realizing the rules have changed. A busboy drops a fork, the clatter sharp. Elijah bends to pick it up, handing it back with a nod. Carter watches, jaw tight, his authority challenged not by words, but by Elijah's calm refusal to be diminished. By the end of the shift, the jokes have stopped. The staff work in quieter harmony, the air charged with something new respect, or maybe just the absence of fear. Elijah finishes the last pan, dries his hands, and meets Carter's gaze one final time. The message is clear. Dignity doesn't need to shout. The next morning, Elijah arrives early, only to find a faded, threadbare apron waiting for him. Carter tosses it across the prep table, smirking. "This one's yours. Been here longer than most. The fabric is stiff, stained in places that will never come clean." Elijah slips it on without a word, tying the knot tight. Carter points to the schedule, his finger landing on the worst shifts late nights, double turns, always last. To eat, first to clean. You're on dish duty again, and don't expect a break. Elijah glances at the chart, then at the staff. Some look away, others offer apologetic half smiles. The unspoken message is clear. This is how things have always been. A sous chef hands Elijah a stack of greasy pots, her eyes flickering with something like regret. "Sorry, it's just how it goes here." Elijah nods, accepting the load. He moves through the kitchen, every step marked by quiet endurance. The pastry chef whispers to the line cook he won't last. No one does. The line cook shrugs, watching Elijah work with unflinching focus as the day drags on. Elijah's hands ache, but his resolve never wavers. He cleans, sweeps, and scrubs, each task performed with the same care as the last. The staff exchange glances, some complicit in the old ways, others uneasy as they witness his dignity in the face of routine. Humiliation, Carter checks in, arms folded, eyes sharp. You missed a spot. Elijah wipes the counter again, meeting. Carter's stare with calm defiance. The kitchen's hierarchy is visible in every gesture, every assignment, every look. But beneath the surface, something is shifting. By closing time, Elijah's apron is soaked and heavy, but his spirit is untouched. The staff leave in small groups, their conversations quieter, their eyes lingering on Elijah a little longer. He hangs the apron by the door, hands raw but steady, and walks out. The weight of unspoken rules pressing behind him. Elijah stands at the prep table, hands steady despite the weight of the day. Carter wipes his hands on his apron, eyes narrowing, as he fixes Elijah with a cold stare. You people never last, he mutters, voice low but sharp enough to cut through the kitchen noise. Elijah meets his gaze, unflinching. Staff glance between the two, some biting their lips, others exchanging subtle nods. The power dynamic shifts, silent but unmistakable. Line cook leans against the wall, arms crossed, watching the exchange with wary eyes. The pastry chef pauses her work, fingers lingering on the dough, sensing the moment's gravity. Elijah's voice breaks the stillness, calm and measured. Maybe it's not about how long you last, but what you stand for. Carter's jaw tightens, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. He looks away, the disdain replaced by a flicker of doubt. Elijah's steady presence fills the space, a quiet challenge that needs no words. The kitchen resumes its rhythm, but the air is different, now charged with a new respect, a subtle acknowledgement that the old order is cracking. Elijah's calm defiance speaks louder than any shout, and the staff feel it deep in their bones. As Elijah turns back to his work, a young prep cook offers a small, hesitant smile. Carter's glare lingers a moment longer before he stalks away, the balance of power quietly tipping. The scene closes on Elijah's hands, steady and sure, moving with purpose. The kitchen's heat is no longer just from the flames, it's from the simmering. Change beneath the surface, Elijah wipes his brow, the kitchen's heat pressing down like a silent judge. A producer leans in, whispering into an earpiece, eyes darting to hidden cameras tucked behind shelves and vents. The staff move around, faces set in routine, exhaustion etched into every line. Carter's grin grows oblivious to the eyes capturing every sneer, every dismissive flick of his wrist. He barks orders, voice sharp but hollow, unaware that the tide is turning. Elijah folds a towel, hands steady. Calm before the storm, a line cook glances nervously toward the cameras, then at Elijah. The air thickens with unspoken tension, secrets pressing at the edges, ready to break free. The producer's whisper cuts through the kitchen noise, rolling in 5. Elijah's gaze meets Carter's across the room, a quiet challenge passing between them. Carter's confidence wavers, a flicker of doubt shadowing his eyes. The kitchen's rhythm falters, the usual clatter replaced by a heavy pause. Staff exchange, furtive looks, some biting their lips, others stiffening at their stations. The power dynamics shift subtly but irreversibly. Elijah's presence, once overlooked, now commands the room without a word. The producer's voice is barely audible, but the message is clear. The cameras are watching, the story is unfolding. Carter's arrogance, once a shield, begins to crack under the unblinking gaze. A young prep cook nervously adjusts his hat, stealing a glance at the hidden lens. A pastry chef pauses, hands dusted with flour, hope flickering in her eyes. The dishwasher, usually invisible, stands at the center of a silent revolution. The head chef, absent but omnipresent, watches from afar, his expression unreadable. The kitchen's undercurrent shifts, the old order trembling beneath the weight of truth. Elijah's calm is a beacon, steady and unyielding. The cameras roll, capturing every breath, every glance, every unspoken word. The storm is no longer distant, It is here, unfolding in the quiet heat of the kitchen. Elijah stands at the sink, the hum of the kitchen fading as memory pulls him back. He's a boy again, perched on a battered stool, watching his mother stir a pot on the old stove. Her hands move with practiced care, her voice soft but steady. "Let your work speak, Elijah. Don't let them take your pride." She glances at the stack of eviction notices on the table, but her eyes never lose their fire. He remembers the way she would press a folded recipe card into his hand, the edges worn from years of use. "This is yours. No one can take it." The smell of simmering spices, the warmth of her presence, these are the things that anchor him even now. The kitchen was their refuge, a place where dignity was measured not by wealth, but by effort and love. Back in the present, Elijah traces the faded handwriting on that same card, tucked in his wallet. The kitchen around him is louder, harsher, but he draws strength from the memory. A prep cook bumps his elbow, muttering an apology. Elijah nods, the gesture gentle, his mother's lesson echoing in his mind. Carter shouts from across the room, demanding more speed, more effort. Elijah's grip tightens on the sink, but he doesn't respond. Instead, he focuses on the task before him, each movement deliberate, a quiet act of resistance. The staff notice his focus, the way he never lets anger show. A line cook whispers, "How does he stay so calm?" Another shrugs, watching Elijah's steady hands. As the shift ends, Elijah slips the recipe card back into his pocket. The kitchen's chaos recedes, replaced by a quiet resolve. His mother's words linger, a shield against the day's slights. He leaves the kitchen with his head high, dignity intact, the promise of her wisdom carrying him forward. Elijah sits, hunched at his kitchen table, the only light coming from his laptop's blue glow. An email notification flashes, position revoked, not a cultural fit. He reads it twice, jaw tight, then closes the laptop with a quiet snap. Rain taps at the window, each drop a reminder of the cold weight settling in his chest. He remembers the handshake, the hopeful smile exchanged with the restaurant manager just days before. "We're excited to have you on board," they'd said, eyes sliding away, voice too smooth. The memory sours as he recalls the whispering in the hallway, the way staff avoided his gaze. "We appreciate your talent," but the words trail off, unfinished promises hanging in the air. Elijah stands, moving to the window. The city outside is blurred by rain, streetlights smeared in streaks of gold. He pulls a worn recipe card from his pocket, tracing the faded handwriting his mother's script, a lifeline. Her voice echoes in his mind. "Let your work speak, not your anger." He breathes deep, letting the memory steady him. A knock at the door breaks his reverie. A friend steps in, umbrella dripping, offering a nod of quiet solidarity. "They don't see you yet," she says, voice low but certain. Elijah's eyes narrow, resolve hardening. He slips the recipe card back into his wallet and buttons his jacket, the fabric stiff beneath his fingers. He glances at his friend, a silent promise passing between them. He steps out into the rain, shoulders squared, the city's pulse matching his own. Each drop that lands on his skin feels like a challenge, not a defeat. The kitchen doors may have closed, but Elijah's fight is only beginning. The betrayal stings, but it sharpens his purpose. He walks into the night, ready for whatever comes. Next, Carter's locker door swings open with a metallic groan, revealing a crumpled sheet pinned inside. The paper, stained and creased, bears a list written in harsh red ink names of cooks, dishwashers, and servers, all marked for removal. Elijah's eyes narrow as he studies the names, the weight of its cruelty settling deep in his chest. A junior chef, glancing nervously over his shoulder, slips a photo of the list into Elijah's hand. His fingers tremble, the risk clear, but the need urgent. Elijah nods, a silent promise to expose the rot passing between them. The kitchen bustles with its usual noise, but beneath the surface, whispers ripple. Staff exchange furtive glances, some fearful, others emboldened by the quiet defiance growing around. Elijah's steady presence, the list is more than paper, it's a weapon Carter wields to maintain his grip on power. A symbol of the systemic BIAs infecting every corner of the kitchen. Elijah folds the photo carefully, tucking it into his jacket. The red ink seems to burn through the fabric, a reminder of the battles ahead. He meets the eyes of a line cook, who offers a small, hopeful smile. The fight is no longer just his, it belongs to them all. Elijah's breath catches as he recalls the whispered warnings from a pastry chef who left her resignation letter folded into a flour sack. The weight of countless silenced voices presses down, fueling his resolve. Carter's list is not just a threat, it's a call to action. In the break room, a young dishwasher clenches his fists, eyes darting to the locked door. He knows the stakes, but feels the stirrings of courage. Elijah's steady presence is a beacon, a quiet rebellion against the kitchen's harshest truths. The staff's murmurs grow louder, a chorus of quiet resistance. The list, once hidden, now pulses with the power of exposure. Carter's grip loosens, the kitchen's undercurrent shifting toward a reckoning long overdue. Elijah's fingers tighten around the photo, the red ink, a vivid scar. He steps into the kitchen's heart, ready to turn whispers into action. The fight for justice simmering beneath the surface. The kitchen is thick with the scent of sugar and flour, the air heavy with unspoken farewells. Elijah finds a folded note tucked inside the flour bin, its edges dusted white. He unfolds it carefully. The words stark, "I can't breathe here." The message hangs in the air, a silent scream amid the clatter of pans. Elijah's fingers tremble slightly as he traces. The ink, the weight of the pastry chef's resignation, settling deep. Around him, the staff move with quiet urgency, some stealing glances at the note, others burying their faces in their hands. The kitchen's usual rhythm falters, the loss palpable. A young line cook leans against the wall, eyes downcast, whispering, she was the heart of this place. The pastry chef's absence leaves a hollow space, her laughter and warmth now memories etched in the flour-dusted surfaces. Elijah's gaze hardens, resolve sharpening like a knife's edge. He tucks the note into his pocket, a vow unspoken but fierce. The kitchen's shadows seem to close in, but Elijah's presence is a steady flame, a promise that the silence will be broken. The staff exchange looks, the first flickers of hope igniting amid the dust and despair. The scene closes on Elijah's hands, dusted with flour, steady and sure. The fight is far from over, but the path forward is clear. A pot simmers on the back burner, the aroma promising something special. Elijah watches from his station as Carter strolls by, glancing at a young cook's sauce. With a careless flick, Carter dumps a fistful of salt into the pot. The cook's eyes widened, panic flashing. Carter shrugs, lips barely curving. Guess you'll have to start over. That's what happens when you don't pay attention. The cook's shoulders slump, hope draining from his face. Elijah's phone, hidden behind a stack of plates, catches the moment. He doesn't say a word, only nods to the cook, a silent message. I saw everything. Around them, the kitchen's noise continues, but a few staff pause, sensing the injustice. A dishwasher mutters under his breath, shaking his head. The pastry chef, packing her things for the last time, glances back, eyes shining with unshed tears. Elijah saves the video, labeling it poof. The cook wipes his brow, voice barely above a whisper. He does this all the time. Elijah's reply is quiet, steady, not anymore. The staff exchange glances, the old fear replaced by something new, solidarity. Carter moves on, unaware that his grip is slipping, the evidence of his cruelty now undeniable as the shift ends. Elijah shares the footage with a trusted line cook. She watches, jaw clenched, then nods. We have to do something. The staff gather in small groups, their whispers growing bolder. The kitchen, once ruled by intimidation, now simmers with the possibility of change. The scene closes on the ruined sauce swirling down the drain. But what remains is more powerful, a truth finally captured, a line finally crossed. Elijah wipes his hands, determination hardening in his eyes. The fight is no longer just about surviving, it's about exposing every rotten secret. The kitchen is quiet after hours, the last echoes of clattering pans fading into the night. Elijah slips into the walk-in freezer, the cold biting through his sleeves. One by one, the staff join him. Line cooks, a dishwasher, the pastry chef clutching her coat. Their breath clouds in the icy air, nerves visible in every shiver. A line cook breaks the hush, voice barely above a whisper. They just file complaints away. The dishwasher nods, rubbing his hands together. For warmth, the pastry chef's eyes darted to Elijah, searching for a sign of hope. Elijah meets their gaze, steady and unwavering, and pulls out his phone. He plays the video of Carter sabotaging the sauce. The group leans in. The screens glow, illuminating faces etched with fatigue and frustration. Elijah says quietly, "We don't have to take this anymore." The dishwasher lets out a shaky laugh, the tension easing just a little. The line cook's jaw sets, determination flickering in her eyes. The pastry chef speaks up, voice trembling. "If we do this, we do it together. No one gets left behind." Elijah nods, the weight of their trust settling on his shoulders. He tucks the phone away, the evidence safe, but the real strength now in their unity, and the quiet resolve of people who have had enough. The old fear lingers, but it's joined by something stronger, a sense of purpose, a promise that things will change. They leave the walk-in together, shoulders squared, ready to face whatever comes next. The kitchen may belong to Carter for now, but the night has shifted. The staff's whispers are no longer just rumors there, the beginning of a movement. Morning breaks with a restless energy in the kitchen. Elijah arrives to find staff clustered around a phone, eyes wide, voices hushed. Someone has posted a video online, a blurred clip of Elijah at the stove, crafting a flawless dish with the ease of a master. The caption reads, "Why is talent ignored here?" Within hours, the post explodes, comments pouring in from strangers and chefs alike. Carter storms in, face flushed as he scrolls through his own phone. "Who did this?" he demands, voice cracking. The staff exchange glances, no one daring to answer. A prep cook shrugs, feigning confusion. But her eyes flick to Elijah, gratitude hidden in her small, secret smile. The kitchen's mood shifts. Where there was once resignation, now there's a spark of hope. People are finally seeing what's real. The pastry chef, back for one last shift, squeezes Elijah's shoulder. "You started," something she whispers, pride and relief mingling in her tone. Carter's authority falters as he reads the comments aloud, each one a blow. This place needs new leadership. Who's the real chef here? Nearly slipping from his grasp. He tries to laugh it off, but the staff don't join in. The kitchen's energy is different. Now charged, expectant. Elijah keeps his head down, working with quiet focus, but every movement is watched, every gesture noted. The staff move with new purpose, emboldened by the knowledge that the world is watching. The viral post is more than a moment of exposure. It's a turning point, a challenge to the old ways. As the day ends, the kitchen buzzes with possibility. Carter paces his control, slipping. Elijah wipes down his station, meeting the eyes of his co-workers. No words needed. The fight is gone, public, and there's no turning back. Elijah's phone vibrates sharply, slicing through the kitchen's routine. He steps away from the bustle, voice calm, but his jaw set. "Yes." Elijah nods, letting the silence on the line carry the weight of what's coming. He pockets the phone, eyes sweeping across the kitchen. Carter is in full command, barking instructions, oblivious to the hidden cameras tucked behind spice racks and vents. Every dismissive gesture, every sharp comment is being recorded. Elijah's gaze lingers on a locked closet door. Behind it, his chef's jacket hangs untouched, crisp and white, a symbol of everything Carter tried to keep from him. Staff move around him, their faces a mix of fatigue and anticipation. A young line cook meets Elijah's eyes, offering a small, hopeful smile. Elijah returns it with a nod, then moves toward the closet. He unlocks it, fingers brushing over the embroidered name on the jacket. The fabric is cool, grounding. He slips it on, buttoning each button with steady hands. Carter notices, voice rising. "Think that makes you special?" Elijah turns, his voice low but unwavering. "It's not about the jacket, it's about what you do in it." Hope flickering in her eyes, the kitchen's mood shifts, old routines losing their grip. The dishwasher pauses, eyes wide, sensing the change. Elijah stands taller, the jacket fitting like armor. The cameras will soon show the world what's been hidden, every injustice, every act of quiet strength. He walks back into the kitchen, each step deliberate. Staff watch, some with pride, others with nerves, but all aware that something is about to break. Elijah's hands adjust the jacket, his eyes set on the horizon. The reckoning is no longer a distant threat at the door. The kitchen buzzes with tension as Carter scans the schedule, his voice cutting through the chatter. "Elijah, you're in a grease trap tonight, alone." The staff freeze, eyes darting between Carter and Elijah. No one volunteers to help. The message is clear. Carter wants to remind everyone who's in charge. Elijah doesn't argue. He grabs gloves, kneeling by the trap, the stench rising as he pries open the lid. Grease coats his hands, thick and cold, but his movements are steady. The dishwasher lingers nearby, guilt flickering across his face. "You want a hand?" he asks quietly. Elijah shakes his head, offering a small, reassuring smile. "I've got it." Carter leans against the counter, arms crossed, watching with a tight smile. Some people just aren't cut out for real work. His words hang in the air, daring anyone to challenge him. The pastry chef wipes down her station. The line cook mutters to herself, anger simmering just below the surface. Elijah finishes the job, standing slowly. Grease stains his arms, but his eyes are clear, unbowed. He tosses the gloves in the bin, wiping his hands on a towel. Carter's confidence falters for a split second as Elijah meets his gaze, calm and unwavering. The staff gather their things, the usual end-of-shift chatter replaced by a heavy, quiet. The dishwasher lingers, offering Elijah a nod of respect. The pastry chef slips him a folded note, just a simple thank you. The line cook offers a fist bump, solidarity in the smallest gesture. Carter watches, jaw clenched, as Elijah leaves. The kitchen, the power play, has failed. The staff's loyalty has shifted. The kitchen door swings shut behind Elijah, the echo lingering. Carter is left alone, his authority diminished, the old order crumbling. The kitchen is alive with a different kind of noise, phones buzzing on countertops, notifications flashing in every corner. Line cooks, servers, even the dishwasher huddle around a cracked phone, scrolling through a tidal wave of posts. The hashtag who is the dishwasher is everywhere on screens. In whispered conversations, even written in marker on the staff whiteboard. Each new comment is a spark. That's not a dishwasher, that's a chef. Why is the best food coming from the bottom rung? This place needs new leadership, the staff read aloud, voices rising with each line, disbelief giving way to pride. Carter stands at the pass, his face pale as he scrolls through his own feed. He deletes negative comments, but for every one removed, 10 more appear. His hands shake, jaw clenched tight. "This is ridiculous," he snaps, but no one answers. The pastry chef glances over, her lips twitching with a hint of satisfaction. The dishwasher, usually silent, grins as a server nudges him. "You see this? Man, they're talking about us." Elijah keeps his head down, working with quiet focus, but every movement is watched, every gesture noted. The line cook leans in, voice low, "You started something big." Elijah's reply is simple, steady. "It's not about me, it's about what's right." The staff nod, the old fear replaced by a sense of unity. Carter tries to regain control, barking orders louder than usual, but the staff barely react. Their attention is on the screens, on each other, on the possibility that things might actually change. The kitchen's energy has shifted. Laughter bubbles up where there used to be tension. Even the head chef, watching from the office, can't ignore the groundswell as the night wears on. The hashtag trends worldwide. Customers arrive, asking for the dishwasher special. The staff exchange looks, excitement building. Carter retreats to his office, defeated by a force he can't scrub away. Elijah wipes down his station, the weight of the moment settling in. The kitchen is no longer just a workplace. It's become a stage for something bigger. When the last plate is washed, Elijah looks around at his co-workers, their faces lit by the glow of their phones. The world is watching, and for the first time, the kitchen feels like it belongs to everyone. The kitchen has emptied out, the last of the staff slipping away, with laughter echoing down the hallway. Elijah lingers, wiping down his station, with slow, careful strokes. He glances at the far end of the kitchen, where a narrow door sits half hidden behind stacked crates of oil and flour. Tonight, something draws him to it, a sense that the moment has finally come. He pulls the door open, hinges creaking, and steps inside. The closet is cramped, shelves lined with old uniforms and forgotten kitchen gear. Hanging from a single hook, untouched and pristine, is his chef's jacket. The fabric is bright, the name Brooks stitched in bold blue thread across the chest. Elijah runs his fingers over the embroidery, feeling the weight of everything this jacket represents: years of work, talent dismissed, identity kept in. The shadows. He slips the jacket from its hanger, shaking out the creases. The sleeves feel stiff, unfamiliar after weeks of dishwater and grease. He slides his arms in, buttoning it up with steady hands. The fit is perfect, as if it's been waiting for this night. In the dim light, the white fabric glows, a quiet act of reclamation. A knock sounds at the closet door. The pastry chef stands there, flour smudged on her cheek, eyes wide. She doesn't say anything, just nods, understanding passing between them. The line cook joins her, grinning. "About time," she whispers. Elijah smiles, a rare warmth spreading across his face. Steps out, the jacket catching the light. The staff gather, their faces a mix of awe and pride. The dishwasher gives a low whistle. The server claps softly. Carter's voice echoes from the office, but no one turns. The kitchen's attention belongs to Elijah now, the old order fading. Into the background, Elijah stands tall, the chef's whites no longer hidden. The closet door swings shut behind him, shadows swallowed by the glow of new beginnings. The kitchen, for the first time, feels like it's his. Elijah stands alone in the alley behind the restaurant. The faint glow of dawn stretching shadows across the cracked pavement. He draws in a slow, deep breath, letting the cool morning air settle his nerves. The city is just waking up, distant traffic humming, but here, time feels suspended, just a heartbeat before everything changes. Inside, Carter's voice cuts through the kitchen, sharp and impatient, oblivious to the tension brewing just outside. The staff move through their routines, but every gesture is tinged with anticipation. A young line cook fiddles with his hat, glancing toward the back door. The dishwasher wipes his hands on his apron, nodding at Elijah through the window. The pastry chef, arms dusted with flour, stands a little straighter, her eyes fixed on the clock. Elijah's phone vibrates in his pocket. He checks the screen. Live in 10. He closes his eyes, letting the weight of what's coming settle on his shoulders. His mother's voice echoes in his memories, soft, steady, unyielding. "Let your work speak, Elijah," he breathes out, slow and even, refusing to let fear take root. He opens his eyes, calm before the storm washing over him. Every detail sharpens: the distant clang of a garbage truck, the flutter of a pigeon's wings, the pulse of his own heartbeat matching the city's rhythm. He straightens his chef's jacket, the fabric crisp and bright. A quiet statement of resilience. He steps forward, crossing the threshold back into the kitchen. The staff look up, their faces a mixture of hope and anxiety. Elijah nods to each of them. The reckoning is no longer a distant threat, it is here. Unfolding in the quiet heat of the kitchen, the camera lingers on Elijah's steady hands, the jacket gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The kitchen doors swing open, and for a moment, the world holds its breath, waiting for what comes next. The kitchen falls into a hush as the live cameras pan across the room. Elijah stands in his chef's whites, the fabric crisp and bright under the harsh lights. The staff's gasps ripple through the air, a wave of disbelief and awe. Carter freezes mid-motion, the spatula slipping from his grasp with a clatter that echoes like a verdict. The head chef's voice booms over the speakers. "Meet our guest judge, Elijah Brooks." The words hang heavy, shifting the atmosphere. Elijah's calm eyes meet Carter's, now wide with dread and disbelief. The kitchen's hierarchy shatters in a single breath, the old order crumbling beneath the weight of truth. Carter's face drains of color, sweat beading at his temple. His hands tremble, fingers twitching as he struggles to find words. The staff watch, some covering their mouths, others nodding in silent agreement. Elijah stands steady, the embodiment of quiet strength and dignity. A line cook whispers to a server, "Did you know?" The server shakes her head, eyes bright with new hope. The dishwasher leans forward, a small smile breaking through years of invisibility. The pastry chef wipes a tear, her flour-dusted hands trembling. Elijah doesn't speak loudly. His presence, alone, speaks volumes. The cameras capture every micro-expression, every flicker of emotion. Carter's confidence crumbles like brittle glass, his voice cracking as he stammers, I didn't know." Elijah's reply is calm, measured. "You never asked." The kitchen's energy shifts. the staff emboldened by the revelation. The old walls of exclusion begin to crack, the first light of change filtering through. The camera lingers on Elijah's steady hands. The chef's white's a symbol of reclaimed dignity and justice. The scene closes with a heavy pause, the weight of the moment settling like a quiet storm. The kitchen, once ruled by fear and prejudice, now simmers with the promise of transformation. The kitchen holds its breath as Elijah peels off the worn dishwasher apron, revealing the crisp chef's whites beneath. The embroidered name Brooks gleams under the harsh lights, a stark contrast to the grime left behind. Staff exchange stunned glances, whispers rising like a tide. Carter's face flushes, sweat beating at his temple. His hands tremble as he stares, the weight of exposure pressing down. The apron, once a symbol of erasure, lies crumpled on the floor, forgotten and powerless. Elijah steps forward, voice calm but firm. This apron was never my identity. It was a mask you forced me to wear. His eyes sweep the room, meeting those of his coworkers, their expressions shifting from doubt to awe. The dishwasher, once invisible, now stands at the center of the kitchen's storm. Carter's authority fractures with every silent glance, his confidence dissolving like salt in water. The staff's murmurs grow louder, a chorus of quiet rebellion. Line cook breaks the tension, voice steady. "We see you now, Elijah." The words hang in the air, a simple acknowledgement that carries the weight of years. The pastry chef nods, her eyes bright with pride. The server wipes his hands, a grin spreading across his face. Even the head chef, silent in the corner, offers a slow, approving nod. Elijah nods, a small smile touching his lips. And we're just getting started. The camera captures the moment, the fallen apron, the rising chef, the shifting power. The kitchen, once ruled by fear and prejudice, begins to breathe anew, the first breath of change. Carter steps back, his presence shrinking, the old order slipping away with every heartbeat. The scene closes on Elijah's steady hands. The whites pristine a symbol, reclaimed. The old order has been stripped away, leaving space for justice and dignity to grow. Elijah stands at the center of the kitchen, the fallen apron at his feet, and the chef's whites gleaming. Carter's voice falters, barely above a whisper. I didn't know. His words hang limp, stripped of authority. Elijah's gaze is steady, his voice low but unyielding. You never asked. The room absorbs the statement, its truth heavier than any accusation. A line cook shifts her weight, glancing at Carter, then back at Elijah. The dishwasher, emboldened, steps forward just enough to be seen. The pastry chef wipes her hands on her apron, eyes shining with something between relief and sorrow. Carter's hands fidget at his sides, searching for a comeback, but finding only emptiness. Elijah continues, his tone measured. You saw what you wanted to see. You never bothered to look closer. Carter's jaw tightens, but he says nothing. The staff exchange glances, the balance of power shifting with every second. The head chef, arms crossed, watches in silence. His approval clear in the smallest nod. A server, voice trembling, breaks the quiet. We all knew something was wrong, we just didn't know how to say it. Elijah turns to him, offering a nod of understanding. The kitchen feels different, now charged, awake. The old fear replaced by something stronger. Carter takes a step back, shoulders slumped, his confidence draining away. The staff draw closer to Elijah, their unity growing in the space left by Carter's retreat. The cameras capture every flicker of emotion, every unspoken apology, every quiet act of courage. The moment lingers, the silence now filled with meaning. Elijah's words echo in the kitchen, a reminder that dignity doesn't need to shout. The staff stand taller, the weight of old wounds beginning to lift. The kitchen, once divided, finds its voice in the space between words. A hush falls as the head chef signals to the monitors mounted above the prep line. The TV flickers, then plays the footage. Carter, caught in the act, dumping salt into a young cook's sauce. The kitchen staff watch, some covering their mouths, others shaking their heads in disbelief. The evidence is undeniable. Every movement captured in unforgiving detail. Carter's reflection flickers on the screen, his face paling as the truth plays out for all to see. The dishwasher, usually silent, lets out a low whistle. The pastry Chef's eyes brim with tears, her hands balled into fists. The line cook leans against the counter, jaw clenched, finally vindicated. Elijah stands still, letting the video speak for itself. His composure unbroken. The head chef's voice is calm, but the words cut deep. This is what's been happening behind closed doors. Carter tries to protest, but his voice cracks. Lost beneath the weight of the images, he glances at the staff, searching for support, but finds only disappointment and anger. The server shakes his head, stepping away from Carter's side. Elijah's gaze never wavers. He meets Carter's eyes, offering no comfort, only the truth. The staff draw closer together, their unity solidified by shared injustice. The kitchen, once divided by fear, now stands together, the old hierarchy shattered. A prep cook whispers, "We always knew, but now everyone sees it." The words ripple through the room, a quiet victory. Carter's authority dissolves, replaced by shame and regret. The monitors go dark, but the impact lingers, the memory of injustice etched into every corner of the kitchen. Elijah finally speaks, his voice steady. It ends here. The staff nod, their resolve clear. The kitchen, once ruled by secrets, is now a place of truth. The scene closes on Carter, alone in the harsh light, exposed and powerless. The kitchen pulses with anticipation as Elijah steps up to the stove, flames flickering beneath his pan. Every eye is on him, some anxious, some hopeful, all hungry for proof. Elijah's hands move with effortless precision, slicing and dicing, each motion a quiet declaration of mastery. The rhythm of his work is mesmerizing, the confidence in every gesture undeniable. Carter lingers at the edge, his usual bravado replaced by a tight, uneasy smile. He tries to look busy, but his gaze never leaves Elijah's station. Elijah glances at the staff, voice calm and steady. Watch closely. The knife flashes, the pan sizzles, and a symphony of aromas fills the air. Carter is called in to assist, but his hands fumble with the ingredients, nerves betraying him. He drops a spoon, stirs too quickly, nearly spills. A sauce. The contrast is stark. Elijah's grace and focus against Carter's clumsy desperation. The staff exchange glances, the line cook whispering to a server. He's in a different league. The pastry chef nods, pride shining in her eyes. The dishwasher, usually invisible, grins as he watches the dish come together. Energy shifts fear, replaced by awe, uncertainty by admiration. The head chef stands at the back, arms folded, a rare smile breaking through his usual reserve. Elijah plates the dish with deliberate care. The final touch, a sprinkle of fresh herbs. He steps back, letting the creation speak for itself. A hush settles as the staff take in the finished plate, perfectly balanced, vibrant, undeniably professional. Carter's jaw tightens, his authority crumbling as the staff's respect for Elijah solidifies. The head chef's voice breaks the quiet. "That's the kind of skill we need." The staff erupt in quiet applause, the kitchen's soul rekindled. Meets Carter's gaze. No words needed. The message is clear. Talent and dignity cannot be hidden. The scene closes on Elijah's steady hands, the flames reflecting in his ease, a symbol of resilience and quiet triumph. The kitchen is thick with anticipation as the head chef steps forward, his gaze sweeping over the staff. He holds a sheet of paper, hand steady, voice carrying authority that needs no volume. Effective immediately, Carter is suspended from this kitchen. The words settle like a final verdict, echoing off tiled walls. Carter's face drains of color. He opens his mouth to protest, but nothing comes out. The staff stand frozen for a heartbeat. Then the line cook lets out a shaky breath. The dishwasher claps once, sharp and unexpected, breaking the tension. The pastry chef's eyes fill with tears, relief and vindication mingling in her expression. The head chef doesn't wait for applause. He turns to Elijah, nodding with quiet respect. "Thank you for reminding us what this kitchen should stand for." Elijah nods in return, his reply simple, "It's about the food and the people who make it." The staff draw closer, a sense of unity settling where division once ruled. Carter looks around, searching for support, but finds only averted eyes and firm stances. His chef's coat suddenly feels too heavy, sleeves hanging awkwardly at his sides. He steps back, shoulders hunched, the old arrogance gone. The server picks up a tray, moving past Carter without a word. Reclaiming the space once dominated by fear, the kitchen's energy shifts. The old order swept away by a wave of quiet justice. The staff gather around Elijah, their voices soft but determined. The head chef posts the suspension notice on the bulletin board, the paper stark against the walla, "New beginning," written in black and white dot as Carter leaves. The door swings shut behind him. The staff exhale, the weight of years lifting in a single moment. The kitchen, once ruled by intimidation, now stands on the edge of something better. Elijah's steady presence anchors the room, his dignity a beacon for all who remain. Carter gathers his belongings in silence, the kitchen's hum replaced by a heavy, watchful quiet. He stuffs his stained apron and knives into a battered bag, hands unsteady. The staff avert their eyes, some out of discomfort, others out of quiet satisfaction. The line cook wipes down her station with extra care, her back turned to Carter's retreat. The dishwasher, usually invisible, stands tall by the sink, arms folded, gaze unwavering. Carter moves toward the back exit, the one reserved for trash runs and deliveries. The hallway is narrow, lined with bins and mop buckets. His shoes slip on the greasy tiles, nearly losing balance. He steadies himself, but the stumble doesn't go unnoticed. The pastry chef, arms crossed, leans in the doorway. Watching him with a look that's equal parts pity and relief, he pushes open the heavy door, stepping into the alley where the dumpsters overflow. The air is thick with the smell of old oil and rain-soaked cardboard. A camera crew waits, lenses trained on his every move. Carter shields his face, but the flashes catch him anyway, freezing his shame in 100 silent frames. He glances back at the glowing kitchen windows, laughter and voices drifting out, sounds that used to belong to him. Now they're distant, unreachable. The server peeks through the door, catching Carter's eye for a heartbeat before letting the door swing shut. The message is clear, the kitchen has moved on. Carter's footsteps echo on the wet pavement as he disappears down the alley, his legacy reduced to a trail of muddy prints. The staff inside gather near the window, watching until he's gone. The dishwasher lets out a low whistle. The line cook shakes her head, and the pastry chef finally allows herself a small, satisfied smile. The kitchen breathes easier, the old fear swept out with the trash. Elijah stands at the center, steady and unbowed. As the staff return to their stations, ready to build something new, the kitchen buzzes with a restless energy as phones light up with a hashtag #FireCarter trending worldwide. Staff gather around, screens eyes wide with disbelief and hope. Memes and comments flood in, praising Elijah's skill and calling for change. The air is thick with anticipation. Carter's face tightens as he scrolls through the relentless flood of messages. His fingers tremble, deleting comments, but the tide is unstoppable. "This isn't over," he mutters, voice cracking. The pastry chef watches from the corner, a quiet smile playing on her lips. The dishwasher, usually silent, grins as a server nudges him. "They're talking about us." Elijah keeps his head down, working with quiet focus, but every move is watched, every gesture noted. The line cook leans in, voice low. "You've started something big." Elijah's reply is steady. "It's not about me, it's about what's right." The staff nod, old fear replaced by unity. Carter tries to regain control, barking orders louder, but the staff barely react. Their attention is on the screens, on each other, on the possibility of real change. The kitchen's energy shifts. Laughter bubbles where tension once lived. Even the head chef, watching from the office, can't ignore the groundswell. As the night wears on, the hashtag trends worldwide. Customers arrive asking for the dishwasher special. Staff exchange looks, excitement building. Carter retreats to his office, defeated by a force he can't scrub away. Elijah wipes down his station, the weight of the moment settling in. The kitchen is no longer just a workplace, it's a stage for something bigger. Carter's old station sits deserted, the knives boxed, and the counters wiped clean. The tools he once guarded so fiercely are now packed away, ready for someone new. The staff move quietly around the space, their voices softer, their steps lighter. The line cook pauses, running a hand over the steel countertop, as if erasing the last traces of Carter's rule. A young black chef steps forward, apron crisp, hand steady. She places her own knives on the board, arranging them with care. The dishwasher gives her a thumbs up. The pastry chef offers a gentle nod of encouragement. Elijah stands at a distance, arms crossed, pride and sorrow mingling in his expression. The new chef glances up, meeting his eyes. "Thank you for this," she says, voice clear and sure. Elijah's reply is quiet but strong. "You earned it." The staff gather around, helping her hang her utensils, laughter and small talk filling the air. The kitchen feels lighter, the old tension replaced by a sense of possibility. The server brings over a fresh towel. The line cook offers a favorite spatula. Each gesture is a small act of welcome, a sign that the kitchen is no longer Carter's kingdom, but a shared space of respect. Carter's absence is felt, but not mourned. The staff work together, their movements in sync, the rhythm of the kitchen restored. The head chef watches from the doorway, a rare smile on his face. The new chef takes her place at the station, confidence radiating from her posture. Elijah lingers for a moment, watching the transformation. The kitchen, once ruled by arrogance and fear, now hums with collaboration and hope. The legacy Carter tried to build has vanished, replaced by something stronger: unity. The empty station is no longer a monument to exclusion, but a symbol of new beginnings. The kitchen hums with renewed energy as Elijah gathers the staff around a large wooden table. Each person holds a ribboned recipe card, his mother's gumbo, a dish steeped in history and resilience. The aroma of spices fills the air, mingling with the soft murmur of anticipation and hope. Elijah's voice is calm but charged with meaning. This recipe is more than food. It's a story, a legacy. Cook it together, and you cook for each other. The staff exchange glances, some smiling, others nodding. The weight of past struggles lifting in the shared moment, laughter bubbles up as the team moves into action, chopping, stirring, and seasoning with care. The dishwasher, once invisible, now stands shoulder to shoulder with the chefs, his hands steady and sure. The pastry chef hums softly, her flour-dusted hands working with renewed purpose. The line cook shares a knowing look with the server, their bond strengthened by the journey they've endured. The camera pulls back, capturing the once toxic kitchen transformed into a space of collaboration and respect. The clatter of pans and the sizzle of the stove blend into a harmonious rhythm. Elijah's hands stained with spice and sweat guide a young cook's first chop, a symbol of hope passed down. The scene closes on the recipe card, its edges worn but vibrant, a testament to endurance and change. The kitchen, reborn in unity, breathes with possibility. The fight for justice continues, carried forward by every hand, every heart. Every shared meal. Carter slumps into a corner booth, the diner's fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. His phone screen glows with relentless notifications memes. Of his downfall, headlines like "Chef's Career Up in Flames" and angry comments. His thumb scrolls mechanically, each swipe tightening the knot in his chest. The waitress avoids his table, refilling others' coffees with exaggerated cheer. On the TV above the counter, Elijah demonstrates knife skills to a crowd of young chefs, his voice calm and assured. Carter's jaw clenches. A child at a nearby table points, whispering, "Isn't that the mean chef?" The mother hushes her, shooting Carter a glare sharp enough to slice bone. He stares at his cold coffee, the liquid reflecting his hollowed face. The waitress finally approaches, pen tapping her pad. "Need anything else?" Her tone is polite but distant, eyes fixed on the exit. Carter shakes his head, sliding cash across the table. She snatches it, retreating quickly. The diner's door jingles as a family leaves, their laughter grating against his isolation. Outside, rain sheets down, blurring the neon open sign. Carter's phone buzzes an other rejection email. "Not a fit for our team culture." He snorts, the phrase echoing his own past dismissals. Headlights illuminate his hunched frame, shadows stretching like accusations. A trash bag bursts in the alley, spilling remnants of yesterday's meals. He rises, chair screeching. Patrons avert their eyes, their quiet withdrawal sharper than any insult. The door slams behind him, the bells chime drowned by rain. His shoes splash through puddles, each step a reminder of the kitchen's polished floors now forever out of reach. The camera lingers on the torn sugar packet he left behind, grains scattered like ashes. Elijah's voice still murmurs from the TV. A ghost in the empty booth, Carter steps out into the gray morning. Rain still clinging to the sidewalks, he pulls his coat tighter, head down, hoping to slip past unnoticed. But as he rounds the corner, onto his street, the world seems to pause. Neighbors who once waved now cross to the opposite curb, their eyes fixed on anything but him. A child tugs at her mother's sleeve, whispering a question. The mother shakes her head and guides her daughter away, her glance quick and cold. Carter's footsteps echo on the wet pavement, each one heavier than the last. A man mowing his lawn pauses, engine idling, gaze unwavering. Carter offers a half-hearted nod, but the man simply turns away, resuming his work with deliberate focus. The sound of the mower is a wall he cannot breach. Across the street, Elijah walks with a group of friends, laughter rising above the hush. A neighbor calls out to him, waving him over for a handshake. Elijah's smile is genuine, his posture relaxed. The contrast is stark where Carter is met with avoidance. Elijah is greeted with warmth and respect. Carter slows, watching as Elijah stops to chat with an elderly woman, helping her carry groceries to her porch. The woman pats Elijah's arm, gratitude shining in her eyes. Carter's chest tightens, the ache of exclusion sharp and unfamiliar. A dog barks from behind a fence, breaking the tension. Carter glances up, meeting the gaze of a teenager leaning against a mailbox. The boy's expression is unreadable, but he doesn't look away. Carter hesitates, then continues down the block, his shadow stretching long and thin behind him. The street, once familiar, now feels foreign. Each window, silent jury, each door a barrier. Carter's legacy lingers only in the space people leave between themselves and him. He keeps walking, the quiet verdict of the neighborhood settling in with every step. The restaurant's entryway, once dominated by Carter's framed portrait, looks different now. The glass is gone, the wall freshly painted. In its place hangs a new photograph. The entire kitchen team, arms around each other, faces bright with laughter and relief. The change is subtle, but unmistakable, a quiet rewriting of history. A janitor wheels his cart through the hallway, pausing at the trash bin where Carter's old portrait lies face down, the glass cracked and the frame chipped. He studies it for a moment, then picks it up and drops it deeper into the bin. The sound is dull, final. Staff pass by, some pausing to glance at the new photo, others exchanging satisfied nods. Inside the kitchen, the mood is lighter. The pastry chef wipes her hands, glancing at the wall with a small smile. "Looks better, doesn't it?" she murmurs to the line cook, who grins in agreement. The dishwasher, stacking plates, catches his reflection in the new photo and stands a little taller. Elijah enters, pausing by the entryway. He studies the team picture, his gaze lingering on each face. The server joins him, voice soft but proud. "It's about time we all got to be seen." Elijah nods, gratitude flickering in his eyes. The staff gather around, sharing a moment of quiet celebration. Carter's absence is felt only in the empty space where his portrait once hung. The restaurant feels different, open, welcoming, honest. Customers linger by the new photo, some snapping pictures, others simply smiling at the sense of unity it represents. The janitor wheels his cart away. The old portrait buried beneath layers of discarded menus and broken glass. The staff return to work, the kitchen alive with purpose. The wall, once a symbol of exclusion, now tells a new story, one of justice, belonging, and the power of collective change. The kitchen staff gather around the freshly posted memo on the bulletin board, their eyes scanning the bold letters that promise change. The announcement details mandatory bias training, new anonymous reporting channels, and mentorship programs designed to uplift every voice. Elijah's name appears at the top, a quiet but powerful symbol of progress. A young line. Cook steps forward, her finger trembling as she traces the words. Tears well in her eyes, a mixture of relief and hope. Nearby, the pastry chef leans in, whispering softly. Finally, someone is listening. The dishwasher, usually reserved, nods with a rare smile, the weight of years of silence beginning. To lift, discarded on a nearby counter, lies a torn sheet of paper. Carter's old rules scrawled in harsh red ink. The janitor pauses, eyes narrowing, then carefully tears the paper into pieces, the sound sharp and final in the quiet kitchen. Staff exchange glances, a shared understanding passing between them. The oppressive past feels like it's being swept away. Replaced by a fragile but growing optimism, Elijah moves through the kitchen with calm assurance, stopping to speak quietly with a young cook struggling with a heavy load. His words are gentle, but firm, reminding her that this is only the first step in a long journey. The kitchen hums with renewed energy, the air lighter filled with cautious anticipation. Conversations spark in corners, laughter returns, and the staff begin to see a future where respect and dignity are the norm. The camera lingers on the memo, the words standing out clear and resolute against the worn bulletin board. The fight for justice is far from over, but this moment marks a turning point. Every hand that folds dough, every heart that beats with hope, carries the promise of change forward. The kitchen, once a place of quiet suffering, now breathes with possibility. The staff gather in small groups, sharing stories of past struggles and newfound hope. A young dishwasher laughs softly, the sound a rare melody in the once dense air. Elijah watches, a quiet smile touching his lips, knowing the road ahead is long, but the first steps have been taken. The kitchen buzzes with a renewed energy as Elijah stands beside a young black chef, her hands steady but her eyes wide with anticipation. He demonstrates a precise knife technique, fingers guiding hers with gentle patience. The room watches quietly, the usual clatter softened by the weight of the moment. The young chef mimics Elijah's movements, her confidence growing with each slice. The dishwasher leans in, a rare smile breaking across his face. The pastry chef nods approvingly, flour dusting her arms as she observes the passing of knowledge. The line cook takes notes. The server pauses to watch, all drawn into the quiet mentorship unfolding. Elijah's voice is calm but charged with meaning. This isn't just about cooking, it's about reclaiming space, about dignity in every cut, every stir. The young chef nods, absorbing the lesson beyond technique. The kitchen feels different, lighter, is earned and given. Carter's old station gleams under the bright lights, now claimed by the young chef. She arranges her knives with care, a small smile playing on her lips. Elijah watches, pride and hope mingling in his gaze. The staff exchange glances, the air charged with the promise of change. The camera pulls back, capturing the kitchen alive with collaboration and respect. Elijah's hands guide the young chef's first confident chop, a symbol of legacy and new beginnings. The scene closes on the ribboned recipe card in her hand, a testament to endurance and the power of shared knowledge. A line cook clears his throat, breaking the quiet. "You're doing great," he says softly, the encouragement of balm. The young chef smiles wider, her hands steadying further. The dishwasher nods, adding, "We've got your back." The pastry chef wipes her hands on her apron, whispering, "This is what we needed." Elijah's gaze sweeps the room, meeting each pair of eyes with quiet resolve. "Together, we rise," he says, voice low but firm. The scene fades with the kitchen alive, the promise of a new era simmering in every corner. The future is bright and full of possibility and hope. Carter sits hunched over his laptop at a cluttered kitchen table, the glow of the screen casting harsh shadows across his face. He scrolls through job postings, each one a reminder of what he's lost. His resume, once a ticket to any kitchen in town, now sits unopened in countless inboxes. He refreshes his email, heart thumping, only to find another terse rejection. "We've decided to move forward with other candidates." The words blur, each line a fresh sting. He types out another application, fingers stiff, the words coming slower now. Extensive experience, former head chef, proven leadership. He hesitates, erasing and rewriting, searching for something that might break through the wall he once helped build. The responses are all the same form letters, polite but final. He closes the laptop with a snap, frustration simmering just beneath the surface. Carter glances at his reflection in the dark window, the city lights behind him flickering like distant stars. He sees the strain in his eyes, the lines etched deeper. With every closed door, he thinks of Elijah's restaurant. Now thriving, its name splashed across food blogs and news sites. The contrast is sharp, impossible to ignore. A pile of unopened mail sits on the counterbills. Advertisements, nothing of substance. Carter picks up an envelope, then lets it fall, the gesture heavy with resignation. He stands, pacing the small room, the silence pressing in. The world he once ruled feels smaller now, the opportunities shrinking with each passing day. He sits back down, staring at the empty inbox, the cursor blinking like a silent accusation. The kitchen's polished floors, the sharp clang of pans, the camaraderie of a bustling team all out of reach. Carter's legacy, once built on exclusion, now leaves him on the outside looking in. The first light of dawn filters through the trees as Elijah stands quietly at his mother's grave. The air is cool, the world still wrapped in the soft hush of morning. He kneels, placing a worn recipe card on the stone, fingers lingering on the faded ink. His voice breaks the quiet, low and steady. Change simmers slowly, he murmurs. Eyes fixed on the horizon, it's not the roar, but the steady heat that transforms everything. He breathes deeply, the weight of the journey pressing down but also lifting. He remembers the battles fought in silence, nights spent scrubbing pans, moments when dignity was all he had left. The scent of spices, the memory of his mother's hands guiding his own, the unspoken lessons of patience and resolve, it returns in the stillness. A soft breeze stirs the leaves, carrying with it the promise of new beginnings. Elijah's gaze shifts to the city skyline, the sun rising behind it like a beacon. He stands, shoulders squared, ready to face the day. The recipe card, stained and creased, is left behind a tribute, a symbol of endurance and hope. Back in the kitchen, the staff prepare for the morning rush. Laughter bubbles up, knives flash, and the rhythm of a new era begins. Elijah's hands move with purpose, guiding a young cook's first confident chop. The kitchen is alive, the energy bright, and full of possibility. The staff work together, the walls once filled with tension, now echoing with collaboration and respect. The camera lingers on the recipe card, resting on the grave, the ink faded but the message clear. Elijah's words echo in the morning air, a vow carried on the wind. Together, we rise. He turns, walking back toward the city, each step steady and sure. The promise of a future forged in dignity and resilience is no longer a distant hope, it is here, simmering quietly, ready to nourish everyone who enters his kitchen. The kitchen hums with life, the clatter of pans and the sizzle of spices blending into a symphony of renewal. Elijah stands at the center, hands steady and sure, guiding a young cook through her first confident chop. The knife moves with purpose, each slice a testament to resilience and hope. Around them, the staff laugh and share stories, the weight of past struggles lifting with every shared meal. The dishwasher, once invisible, now stands tall, his smile bright and genuine. The pastry chef dusts flour from her arms, her eyes shining with pride. The line cook exchanges a knowing glance with the server, their bond strengthened by the journey they've endured. Elijah's mother's locket glints beneath his shirt, a quiet reminder of the legacy he carries. The camera lingers on the worn recipe card resting on the counter, stained with spice and time, a symbol of endurance and change. The kitchen, once a place of quiet suffering, now breathes with possibility and unity. The scene closes on Elijah's hands, stained with the colors of the kitchen, steady and unbowed. The fight for justice continues, carried forward by every hand, every heart, every shared meal. The final frame is a promise, a legacy reclaimed, a future forged in dignity and hope.